the white rice that's been stripped of its B complex, it's been stripped of its calcium, it's been stripped of its magnesium, it's dead. It's dead, like the white sugar. White sugar is processed at 2,500 degrees in the processing. Nothing's alive. It's dead. There's no nutrition to that food. It's an immune system suppressor. It robs the calcium out of your bones. And so one thing that was going over into Africa is they get the grains that have not been stripped of their nutrients, where in America, we don't eat white flour, we don't eat white my family, I'm talking about my family, not the rest of America. We don't eat white sugar, we don't eat white flour, we don't eat white rice, so brown rice, basmati rice is awesome. It is delicious. It has so much flavor to it. But so one thing that kept the women over in Africa reproducing is getting all of our rice that's donated and all of our wheat that was donated over there that hasn't been stripped. Because once they strip it and they pull all those nutrients out of it and they make their bread, everything's enriched. So when something says on the container or package, enriched, drop it. Stick it back on the shelf. Don't put it in your cart. It's enriched with synthetic man-made vitamins. Okay? Which, remember, underneath the microscope, high-powered microscope, things that are man-made vitamins and minerals they have no energy field. They have no life force. They're a dead source of nutrients. So, and this is really important with children with eczema and different dermatitises. We look at all of these foods for children. Everything has got the food dyes in them, the artificial flavoring. Their little brains, it puts them, chemically imbalanced. The tissue, when you keep ingesting this, and I've said this before, when you keep taking it in, the brain figures, okay, I must need this for something. I don't know what I can use it for, so I'm going to store it off over here. And maybe I'll get around to getting back to it when I figure out what I need it for. So, you want to remove those things from the diet. Sugar leaches calcium right out of the bones. The other thing is a tablespoon of white sugar will paralyze the immune system for 24 hours. So one thing, to get out of your diet as well is the corn syrup, the high fructose corn syrup. And I can't believe the people who make candies and everything and throw the white corn syrup in it, which is genetically modified, which is DNA altering into the system. So there's got to be, there's plenty of ways to make, candies and things like that where you don't need to use high fructose corn syrup. Okay, so the other things, foods, allergy foods, foods that your child is very sensitive to. So you want to pull that wheat out of the diet, pull the dairy, get rid of the corn. And like I said about orange juice, hey, if you don't live in Florida or you don't live in Southern California, where that can be picked right off the tree and juiced, stay away from it. It's acidic. Coffee leaches calcium out of the bones. It's very acidic. Black tea. Soda pop. Soda pop has carbonation in it, and that carbonation creates a bubbling in the bloodstream, and we're not supposed to be delivering bubbles in our bloodstream throughout the organs. The soda pop is also high in phosphorus, which creates an imbalance with the calcium in the body. And sugar It leaches the calcium right out of the system, as well as paralyzing the immune system. Eczema is often treated medically with corticosteroids, drugs that mimic the anti-inflammatory actions of the adrenal hormone cortisol. So things that feed the adrenal glands and bring them back into balance so that they can produce a natural occurring cortisol is licorice root. So, licorice root is something that can be used very effectively with feeding the medulla area of the adrenal gland. People with eczema often suffer from adrenal exhaustion. So vitamin C and licorice root are something that really help the adrenal glands and bring them back into balance. The corresponding deficiencies of poor cortisol production can explain why there is excessive inflammation that's present and why eczema can flare up under stress. And stress also depletes the adrenal glands. Along with learning good stress management techniques, herbs that support the adrenal function and have cortisol-like actions are very beneficial. Licorice root and yucca have this effect. Licorice root, however, should be avoided if the eczema is weeping, if there's fluid that weeps from that. The other ways that licorice should be avoided would be in blood, high blood pressure problems. Somebody with high blood pressure doesn't do well with licorice root. Licorice root, if you're diabetic, hypoglycemic, licorice root is wonderful. But it is something that if you have diabetes, we don't necessarily use licorice root. We use, chromium and golden seal or cedar berries. Cedar berries is wonderful for helping to produce natural occurring insulin. Other adrenal enhancing remedies, we have a product called Adrenal Support and Energy V. And Energy V has bee pollen in that. We have a product called Histoblock. And Histoblock is something that if you're suspecting that these eczema and dermatitis flare-ups are coming from food allergies, then Histoblock is a product that should be used. A half a capsule is all that's needed with a child weighing under 50 pounds. At the 50-pound mark, one capsule. So one capsule twice a day. There's also, with the jojoba oil, jojoba oil is very healing and very nourishing to the skin. And in that jojoba oil, you can take the top off of that, and you can add some of the essential oils into that jojoba oil, and the jojoba oil acts as a good oil to hold that essential oil in suspension, so that it you don't really have to worry about shaking it up or anything. You just add it into the jojoba oil, shake it up, and then apply it directly over the areas where the breakout is at. So one of the things that, for topically, you could add the jojoba oil, and you could put a little flaxseed oil in that if you wanted to. But the essential oil, bergamot. Never, ever put bergamot on the skin or any of the essential oils. Don't put those directly on the skin. Those need to be in like a carrier oil. So jojoba, flaxseed oil in this instance, would work very well for different dermatitises, including eczema and psoriasis. So bergamot is an essential oil that is very, very good. It's excellent. clary sage is another essential oil that is very good. Geranium, not germanium. It's a trace mineral. Geranium is another one. Jasmine Absolute. That is a wonderful essential oil, and lemon oil can also be used. Vitamin D, vitamin A. So I knew a wonderful man who was an herbalist, and he passed away in his mid-80s. And one thing that he used to joke about was that he took 100,000 international units of vitamin A and D daily. And the only side effect he had at 40 years of doing that was he never had to wear glasses. He also was never sick. And he was a wonderful man, just a wonderful, wonderful man, a wealth of knowledge. So over 40 years, he consumed 100,000 IUs of vitamin A and D. You know, the recommended daily allowances, the RDAs on the back of a bottle, is only enough to keep you breathing. It's not enough to really promote health in the body. And even though A, D, and E, just remember ACE, so we reverse it, ACE, A, C, and E, those are all used for the eyes. A, D, and E are fat-soluble vitamins, and they will store in the fatty cells of the body. So if you're using something that is derived from a plant source, you don't have to worry about a toxicity. If you're taking synthetically made vitamins, you've got to worry about toxicity. Okay? So it's just like isolated iron. High amounts of iron can kill a child. But you know what? If a child gets into and eats a pound of, say, cherries or strawberries, they're not going to overdose from the iron content that is found in that food. So our fruits and vegetables that are all red, those have the highest iron properties. And ironically, a way to take care of inorganic settlement in the body is to use the organic source in order to leach and carry it out. It's the iron is attracted to iron. So the natural biochemical iron will actually leach out inorganic iron, say iron that you get from cooking all the time in cast iron skillets. Don't do that, unless you have an anemic condition, severe anemic condition, and then you could cook some food in cast iron skillet. But rule of thumb, don't use cast iron. The iron that leaches off into your food is inorganic. And don't use aluminum, because aluminum is soft. Don't freeze anything in aluminum. Don't cook anything with high heat. With aluminum, it's soft. It leaches into the food. It's toxic. It's a central nervous system toxin. If with summertime and people still doing a lot of cooking out, any food at all that you will freeze or cook, and you're going to use aluminum, you need to use wax paper or parchment paper to wrap that food in, and then cover it in foil if you're going to, put it on a barbecue grill or something like that. Other things that help to take care of the eczema, dermatitis, any psoriasis, the other things that work well for that is, a homeopathic formula that is specific to eczema and psoriasis. Detoxification. Enviro Detox is a wonderful product, and that's better for somebody who can swallow a capsule that